Welcome back to Real Roots Radio. I'm so excited to welcome my friend Karen Long of Clinton County's Dolly Parton Imagination Library to Real Roots Radio today. How you doing, Miss Karen?
I'm good, Daniel. I'm good. Thanks for having me today. I'm just so excited to be here with you.
For folks that maybe are unaware with how monumental of a program Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is, why don't you give them kind of the bullet points, the highlights, the 10,000-foot view of what makes this program so important and vital to our communities?
Well, what's so important about it is it fills in a need. It meets a need that we have in our community. And that need is to bring books into the homes of families of very young children, because reading is such an important part of what can happen in brain development for children ages birth through 5 years old, which is what the program is designed to meet those children birth through 5 years old. And it provides a book that's free to those families every month in the mail, addressed and delivered to the child with the child's name on it. Probably the first piece of mail that they'll ever get in their life comes from Dolly, and it's The Little Engine That Could. That's her first book that she always sends to a kiddo at whatever age they enter the program. Um, but it fills in the gap because Dolly did this program, created this program in 1995 in honor of her father who couldn't read. And she didn't want that to happen to anybody else. And so she started mailing books to homes so that families would have books right there to read, that it kind of erases the excuse that you have. We don't have books. We'd read, but we don't have books. Well, now by at birth, you get a book, and for every month after, you get a book till the child's 5. So at the end of that program, you have the potential to have 60 books that your child at age 5 owns and has at your easy disposal at home to read. And it's Dolly talks about 80%, the research that shows that 80% of a child's brain is developed by the age of 3. And we know from research and from our experiences with kids that reading is a big part of that brain development. It's one of those positive things that can happen to develop the brain in children. So that's the biggest thing that the program provides.
One thing that's so cool, and I had heard this, but seeing it, so my daughter is 5 months old.
Oh,
She's the best.
wonderful.
And first we signed her up for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. And one thing that I read about this, but seeing it when the books come in the mail, is how specific each book is tailored to that child's age and where they're at developmentally. And it's amazing how, Daisy's 5 months old. So to be able to have some books that have a lot of repetition, something that she can look at, versus something that someone that might be more preschool age, the 4 or 5, the 4 year old would have something with more words and more of a plot, more of a kind of cause and effects that they can follow along. So it's great. So no matter what age the kid is between 0 and 5, Dolly's hooking them up with books that are age appropriate, which is amazing.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's really true. And when a family gets that Little Engine That Could, as their first book, you don't really recognize that because it's a long book with a lot of story
Yeah.
and a lot of text, and it's just a long book. And it's a book that's been around forever. You and I probably read it as kids, and I think it's one of the things that Dolly loves about that book. It instills that idea of you can do whatever you set your mind to doing. And Dolly really wants children to understand that they can do anything as they just set their mind to it. But then all the books, like you said, afterwards are all age appropriate with just a few words, not much story, but the repetition and the words and the colors and the numbers and all those things that we would expect babies to really be interested in, and pictures. And so I think it's real important for families to recognize that the stories will grow with their children. And oftentimes, and then sometimes when they have two children, they worry about getting the same book over and over. And some of that will happen, that some of the books stay in the collection, like The Little Engine That Could, but some of the books change. There's a committee of people who review books all the time and add new books to the program and take books away. So there is a good chance that some of the collection will be new to a second and third child. But what's really important is that each of those children has their own collection. They recognize themselves as book owners, that these are my books, and that book ownership is really an important part of identity too, that Dolly and we want to instill in kids.
Clinton County's branch of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is celebrating its 5th anniversary. So, for
That's
folks
right.
that are doing their math and thinking back, what in the world was going on 5 years ago? Not much. We were all staying at home. It was right in the middle of the COVID pandemic. So, kind of, you said it was kind of a lackluster start to such an amazing program, but you're making up for it in a big, big way 5 years later for the 5th anniversary. Why don't you tell us about this special event?
Yes, yes. We're so excited to celebrate 5 years. And we're going to do something that we had hoped to do back in 2020, and that is show the documentary film, The Library That Dolly Built, produced and created by a Tennessee film professor. And he has given us access to that film again, that documentary. And we're going to show that film at the beautiful historic Murphy Theater in Wilmington, Ohio. And we're going to celebrate with a happy hour. Charlie's is right next door. It's a little tavern, a little pub right next to and connected to the Murphy Theater. And Charlie's will be open for happy hour from 5 to 7, just like they are before any performance. But they're going to be open for happy hour. We're going to have a special Dolly cocktail, a special Dolly Parton appetizer, a couple of them that come from her cookbook that she's recently published with her sister. So we're going to pull some recipes from there, and we're going to have some appetizers. Appetizers will be free. Cocktails will be have a charge at Charlie's, but it'll be a special Dolly cocktail. And then we're going to have lots of other activities happening in the lobby of the Murphy Theater from 5 to 7. People will have a chance to write thank you notes to add their thank you to all the people that make this possible, from mail carriers to the nurses in the family and delivery department at Clinton Memorial, to teachers, to all the people that make this possible, that these books are delivered to kids every month. We will be able to write thank you notes. We have a life-size cutout of Dolly, and she will be there. Our life-size cutout of Dolly will be there with some balloon arches that we're having created. So people have a photo opportunity there. They'll learn how they can get involved in the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll move into the theater, and you can take your Dolly cocktail and your Dolly appetizers into the theater with you. And we will have some special recognition of some of the people, our partners in the community. And we have a special video welcome from Governor DeWine and First Lady Fran DeWine. So it's just going to be a fun, fun evening of celebration. The documentary is about 70 minutes long, just a little over an hour. And it really gives us a behind the scenes look at what Dolly has done from the beginning of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, when it was just in East Tennessee, Sevierville, Tennessee, all the way to now where it's around the world. It's around the world. And that documentary is going to give us a backstage look at that, how it all works.
It's going to be a fun time. That's this Friday night in Clinton County, Wilmington, the historic Murphy Theater, and the eve of the Isaacs coming to town. So it'll be a
Yes.
fun way to kind of get in the spirit. What is admission for this cool event to see this documentary?
Oh, it's free. I forgot to mention that. The
That's amazing.
documentary is free. Thank you for saying that. The documentary is free. The only thing that's going to cost you some money is the drinks at Charlie's, or any drinks or snacks that you might want to get at Charlie's. The Dolly appetizers are free, but the documentary is free. There'll be opportunities to donate, but you don't need cash to do that. We have all sorts of ways that if you wanted to donate to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, you could. But yeah, the event is free, and we're so excited about offering this free to the families too. And if you've never been to the Murphy Theater, come to this free event and see this beautiful, beautiful historic theater right in Wilmington, not just down the street from wherever you are listening.
Free event celebrating 5 years of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library of Clinton County, Ohio. They'll have documentary, the library that Dolly built, telling the story of the origins of this wonderful program that's now nationwide. For folks that do not that don't understand that it's a national program, there are Dolly Parton Imagination Libraries within each state, like Dolly Parton's Imagination Library of Ohio. But then once we get it down to the local level with Clinton County, Why don't you tell us the importance of supporting these local branches and how the structuring works? Because I think a lot of people might think, oh, well, it's a national program, so why do I need to donate? Dolly's paying for the books. So how does this work, and why is this local level? What's significant about Clinton County's branch of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library?
Yeah, great question, Daniel. So it's national, it's international, actually. Canada, Ireland, Great Britain, Australia, Canada. So it's an international program. And Dolly pays for the books for all those programs. And our local Clinton County chapter, we are responsible for paying for half of the cost of the mailing. The other half of the cost of the mailing is paid for by the Ohio legislature, our tax dollars. They've dedicated money to pay for half of the mailing of all the books in Ohio. And over 20 million books have been sent out in Ohio since Ohio became a Dolly Parton Imagination Library state. And locally, we rely on local donations of individual private donors like you and me, and businesses are part of those private donors. Invenergy is a solar company that has recently donated a big chunk of money, that enough money to pay about once a month for a monthly mailing, which is around $2,000. It costs about $2,000 a month to send out all the books in Clinton County. So we have local dollars, private money from individuals and companies. And then we do have a great partnership with ATSG out at the air park in Clinton County, and they make sure that there's no gap in funding. So what we don't have enough of private donors, ATSG helps us and makes up the difference. So there is space for 100% of the kids in Clinton County to receive these books, from high income families to low income families. It's for all families, because we know that when we get a piece of mail as a birth through 5-year-old child, and when it starts at birth, we learn that feeling of what it is like to get a piece of mail addressed to us and a book every month, and it's exciting. And so we want to build that excitement for all children in Clinton County. We currently have 72% of our children, 72% are enrolled in the Dolly Parton Imagination Library program. Every month we lose 5-year-olds because they graduate out of the program. So we're always looking for those newborns and those kiddos who don't yet know about the program to take their spots. So that is how we fund it, from private monies, from individuals, from businesses. And then ATSG comes in and helps us fill in the gaps when we need it.
So while it is a national and international program, it still relies on local support
It
to make sure
does.
the books get to the kids.
It absolutely does. Local support. And then those mail carriers. We're so excited to honor the mail carriers next Friday night, and let them know how much we appreciate them. But yes, the books are all free to families, and we're sure to say that the books are not just free, period. The books are free to families, but come at a cost. And we are so blessed to have a community that supports this early literacy project, from the Clinton County Foundation, which is where we are kind of housed as our nonprofit. The Clinton County Foundation and all the work that they do to raise awareness about the program and find donors for us, and just beating the drum and telling people about it, because number one, who doesn't love Dolly? Number two, who doesn't love the idea of kids having books in their hands? So it's a great program to get behind and support with your pocketbook, with your dollars.
One thing that I know from learning about Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, and I've heard our first lady, Fran DeWine, speak on this as well, is for some of the parents whose children receive the books, because adult literacy is still a taboo subject in our country, and there's a lot of adults that struggle with reading, that for a lot of these parents, as their kids receive their books, they're learning with the kid and helping teach themselves how to read by following along with these books, which I just think is an amazing kind of added benefit to getting more books into the hands of families and into these communities.
That's really true. And, it also shines a spotlight on a need that we do have in our community. And so it's an it's an area that I'm working on trying to find champions who can champion adult literacy programs in our community, because it is a need. But I think you're right. I think adults are learning alongside their children with these books. And another really interesting thing is, in the last year, we have been able to offer bilingual books in Ohio. So families have the choice of having books that come to them that have a line of Spanish and a line of English. They have both dual language in the books. And so that's a great way to introduce Spanish to a different language in your home. You might not be a Spanish speaking home, but you might be interested in receiving the bilingual books to be able to offer that as a possibility for something your young children and you might be learning together.
And from what I've heard, I'm sorry, Senor Lopez, if my high school Spanish teachers tuned in, but I am a very poor Spanish speaker. I remember bits and pieces from high school, but I would not even try to attempt to having a conversation with someone who is a native speaker of that language. But I've heard that the earlier you introduce those second languages to kids, the more they soak it up like a sponge. And so this is a great opportunity to do that.
I have heard the same thing, Daniel. I've heard the same thing. Something else that was happening in the Dolly Parton Imagination Library at the same time that we were offering a bilingual books to families is that, and bilingual books are great for the Spanish speaking families that they can be reading in their native language too.
Those ESL, the English as their second language families, that's a great way for them to grow and learn, the language which the majority of us speak, which is English.
Yeah. And so another thing that was happening at the same time was that we wanted to make sure that the kids who were most at risk had access to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And those are our children who are in foster care. So we have a program now in Ohio that ensures that all children in foster care between birth and 5 years old are enrolled in the program. And if they are foster kids who move from home to home or move from a home back into their home, that we make sure that they have those books to return home with them so that kids are moving with their collection of books. And so that's something that we're very proud of too here in Ohio, to make sure that those foster kids have access to this resource too.
That's amazing. That's
Mhm.
amazing. It's going to be a fun night celebrating 5 years of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library in Clinton County, Ohio, and also learning more about this great program and helping educate our community on how we can support. So come on out. What time is the festivities at the Murphy Theater in Wilmington this Friday?
Yeah, so happy hour starts 5 to 7, and there'll be all sorts of activities happening around that time. And then the actual documentary and program starts at 7 o'clock.
So the kind of pre-show entertainment, if you will, kicks off at 5. Free appetizers, drinks at a small premium, and then the documentary to follow. Free appetizer, free movie, free event, free social gathering, and a great sense of community to learn about this wonderful program, Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. If folks can't make it out on Friday night, but they want to learn more about either A, how to support the program financially, or B, how to sign up their kids and grandkids for this
Yeah. So
event,
find us on,
for this wonderful program, where should they go?
sorry, Daniel. So you can find us on Facebook at Clinton County Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and then Ohio Dolly Parton Imagination Library. Ohio Imagination Library has their own Facebook page too. And then Google Ohio Imagination Library, Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and you'll come up with and maybe add the word enrollment, and you'll find the enrollment page. It's a very easy online form that families can fill out. You can also find information at your local libraries. Just go to the circulation desk at your local library in whatever county that you're in, and ask them about it, and they should have a form that they can fill out. United Ways are very involved in this project around the state. Library systems are. Your school might have information about it as well, but we're on social media, and we'll put links out there to how to donate and enrollment pages and all that kind of stuff. You can find that there too.
Awesome. So in addition to learning more on social media and online, you can also just go to your local library. we all need an excuse to go to the local library anyway. And what better reason than signing up your kids or grandkids to get books in the mail? So,
Yes.
Karen, thank you so much for your hard work with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library of Clinton County. And it's a wonderful opportunity for you to celebrate 5 years of this wonderful program in your neighborhood. So congratulations.
Thank you, Daniel. And thank you, Daniel and friends at Real Roots Radio, for your support and for taking the time to talk with us about it. We appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank you. The pleasure is all ours. Wonderful to support this program. Come on out to the Murphy on Friday for a lot of fun and fellowship and celebration of 5 years of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library of Clinton County, Ohio. Karen, thanks for joining us on Real Roots Radio.
Thank you, Daniel. See you at the movies.
Hi, thanks for watching. If you liked our video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe so you'll be notified when we have new videos posting. Be sure to check out some of our other content as well. Thanks for watching.